How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Flesh and Blood video here on Red Zone Rogue. Today, we have a deck tech for a hero that I've never done a deck tech for. You guessed it, I already showed it. We have Briar. This is a Briar Blitz deck tech. In fact, this Briar deck actually got second place at a recent Battle Hardened event in Dallas, piloted by JP Coleman, and it's a deck that I've been having a lot of fun playing, actually. Doing a lot of testing and preparation for the upcoming Team Blitz event at the world premiere event in Las Vegas. There is a Team Blitz calling, and I'm testing a bunch of different decks. Lexi, Briar, Dash, and this is the current Briar deck that I'm kind of fiddling around with. The end result will likely be fairly different from this, but I think this is a really, really good starting point. And I think now is also a really good time to mention a brand new sponsor of the channel. I'm going to be partnering with Forge and Fire Gaming to do Flesh and Blood stuff. I will have an affiliate link in the description down below, and using that link will go and directly support me. Forge and Fire is actually a game store that I have been buying from for a long time, since like maybe Monarch. It's the store that I buy my own Flesh and Blood product from. I also buy some locally, and I also buy some from some other places too, but I always buy a couple cases from Forge and Fire because, one, they have some of the best prices out there, like actually just some of the lowest prices for Flesh and Blood product, and they've always been like this. And they also have great customer service, and they have like great custom playmats. They commissioned Federico Muzzetti to do a lot of stuff. We've seen like their Lexi stuff. We saw like a Christmas playmat. They're just great. And so I'm very happy to partner up with Forge and Fire. Like I said, it's a place that I already buy my stuff from. So it was kind of like a no-brainer. That affiliate link will work on any Flesh and Blood product, or maybe even any product on their site. I'm not entirely sure. But definitely, if you want to buy some Uprising, I highly recommend buying it from Forge and Fire. I literally bought 2 cases of Uprising from them before I even did this partnership. Like, that's just how I already roll. So I'm really glad for that. If you want to buy any singles, I'm not sure if they have singles up there yet, but definitely if you want to buy any Uprising sealed product, check the link down below. I also have some other links to like FAB Foundry and FABTCG cards, also excellent single sellers. So if you're looking to pick up any singles for the deck for today, check those out. But enough talking, enough shilling. Let's get on with this Briar Blitz deck. All right, let's start talking about Briar, the once boogeyman of Flesh and Blood, and kind of not so much these days. I don't think I've ever done a deck tech for Briar on the channel, so I'm actually pretty excited. I've played a lot of Briar in limited, but not a lot in constructed formats, and I'm having a ton of fun playing Briar in Blitz right now. This is one of the decks that I am considering bringing to the Team Blitz calling in Las Vegas, along with the Uprising release. So excited for this. I'm likely going to change it quite a bit, but I think this is a really, really good starting point. Before we get started, though, I do also want to mention this lovely playmat available on redzonerogue.com. These were out of stock for a while, but now they are back in stock, and they are just absolutely lovely. So, Briar. Let's go over quickly what Briar does, just in case you're new to the game, and then we'll start talking about the rest of the deck. So, 4 intellect and 20 life total. You can play Earth cards and Lightning cards in a Briar deck, and Briar has a couple interesting abilities. So, if you play 2 non-attack actions in a turn, when you play your second one, you actually create an embodiment of lightning. This embodiment of lightning is a custom token, by the way, from Blackwing Studios. Big shout out to them. Got this at the Pro Tour. Very lovely people. And so what an embodiment of lightning does, it just says, when you play an attack action card, destroy the embodiment of lightning, and the attacking action gains Go Again, which is great. Does not work on weapons, only attack action cards, but it's just a really good way to give Go Again to your attack actions to kind of further your turns. So you want to play 2 non-attacks to get an embodiment of lightning, so you can give your attacks Go Again. And then, if one of your attack action cards hits for the first time, you will generate a embodiment of Earth. So she kind of gets these tokens. You get your lightning tokens when you play non-attacks, specifically when you play 2, you only get 1 per turn. And then you get your embodiment of Earths, you only get 1 per turn, but it's the first time one of your attack action cards hits. And this is currently errated. It used to be you can get any number of these, but now you only get 1. And what does it do? I guess I should say what it does. So basically this says non-attack action cards you control have +1 defense while defending. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy the embodiment of Earth. So it sticks around for a turn and it pumps up the defense of all of your non-attacks. But spoilers, we're not really going to be blocking with them. We can, but we're not really going to be blocking with them. Other tokens that matter are rune chant tokens, which kind of sit around, and then when you attack with anything, your weapon or attack action, they just get destroyed and deal 1 arcane damage per rune chant token. This one actually is a custom token by FABTCG cards. Another excellent person in the Flesh and Blood community, personal friend of mine, and he makes these awesome tokens. So we have rune chant tokens, and then we also have quicken tokens, which they're very similar to the embodiment of lightning, to be honest. They kind of pop when you do an attack action, and you get Goarin, which is great. And then I also have these random other tokens. These are Steve Argyle tokens that Steve Argyle drew for me at the Pro Tour. We got this little chunky angel, and got this little chunky dragon. I love them, and I can use these for whatever else. They're just kind of generic tokens. But these are the ones you're gonna need. You're gonna need a bunch of tokens for this deck. Embodiments, and then your quicken and rune chants. So we'll talk about those and what generates those later, but that is Briar. She kind of applies a lot of pressure through attacks and non-attacks, and just kind of synergizes really, really well. Briar is still quite good, All right, so we have Rosetta Thorn as the weapon of choice. This is the only weapon we ever consider because it is busted. So it attacks for 2 as a once per turn action for a single resource of attack. And whenever you attack with Rosetta Thorn, if you've played an attack action card and a non-attack action card, deal 2 arcane damage to target hero. So it doesn't actually attack for 2, it attacks for 4, for 1, if you've played an attack action and a non-attack action. So like a very common turn would be non-attack, attack action with go again, or just any attack action, because non-attack will create an embodiment of lightning. Then you play your attack action, embodiment pops, gives it go again, and then you come in with your thorn for 2 and 2. That's kind of like your standard Briar turn, or just you could just do non-attack, attack with go again, and then into Rosetta Thorn. Very, very common, and it does a lot of damage. All right, so this is our current equipment loadout. It's actually smaller than the 11 cards, even including the Rosetta Thorn, and that's because I think you have some options here. I will have a link to the deck down below, to the official deck from the Flesh and Blood website, but I haven't really played around too much with the other options, and I'll talk about that, why that is right now. Because I think you have a lot of options here going into the next meta. So, this is our standard loadout. This is kind of what I like rocking these days. We have Snapdragon Scalers, Arcanite, Grasp, and Aether Ironweave. I really like Aether Ironweave actually over Tunic for a couple different reasons. All right, so we almost always run Snapdragon Scalers. It has an attack reaction, destroy it. Target attack action card you with cost 1 or less gains go again. So just great. Just give go again to literally anything in the deck, any attack action. Skullcap is a very boring card, but it blocks really well. If you have less life than your opponent, it gets +1. And so it can block for 2 and then block for 1. So basically it gives you an extra 3 health. And that also has an Arcane Barrier 3 if you have less health than your opponent. That usually doesn't matter all that much. It just blocks really well. So this is a boring card. If you don't have one, honestly, you can run something else instead. You don't have to have the Skullcap to be optimal. You can just pretend that you have 1 less life than normal. Grasp of the Arcanite is very good. It's very similar to Arcanite Skullcap, and then it blocks for 2, and then it'll block for 1 because it has Battle Worn. So it basically gives you an extra 3 health. So between these two, you basically get an extra 6 health against attacking heroes. It also has a once per turn action for 2 resources. You get to create a Rune Chant token, which is actually a really good first turn play if you don't want to give your opponent a mulligan. You can just make a Rune Chant and pass, which is just a pretty solid turn. And then the Aether Ironweave. I really like this a lot more over the Tunic. The Tunic is just too slow for Blitz these days. Blitz is like a 3-turn format, so you get maybe like 1 resource out of it, and then like you get a block. Well, Aether Ironweave, it has Battle Worn, so you can block with it at any point, and also it generates 2 resources, so it's doubly better than Tunic, unless you're going to 6 turns, in which case you're probably having a bad time. You probably play against like a fatigue deck. So it says action, destroy Aether Ironweave, gain 2 resources. Activate this only if you have played an attack action card and a non-attack action card, which is what we want to do anyway. So yeah, really, really like Aether Ironweave. And it's not just a budget option. I think it's just really good over the Tunic. Just generates some resources. So this is kind of our standard loadout against most decks. Here we have our Arcane Barrier loadout. If we want to, you know, not get absolutely wrecked against Kano. So, a couple things to note here. So we have Null Rune Robe, which has Arcane Barrier 1. We have Vexing Quillhand, which is actually a really good budget option over the Grasp of the Arcanite. So if you don't have a Grasp of the Arcanite, you can just rock a Vexing Quillhand. It won't block, but you can use it to destroy it and gain 2 Runechant tokens. So, you know, instead of gaining some life, you know, some virtual life by virtue of blocking, you can get some virtual damage on your opponent by gaining some extra Runechant tokens. But it also has Arcane Barrier 1, so that's Arcane Barrier 2 there. And then Crown of Dichotomy, it's an okay effect, but it also has Arcane Barrier 1. The effect is for a single resource, you can destroy it and put a Rune Blade attack action card and target Rune Blade non-attack action card from a graveyard on top of your deck in any order. So that's pretty good, but that effect does not have Go Again. So that's just kind of like the end of your turn. So some other cards that I want to note that I don't have here in the loadout. There's the Spring Tunic, but like I said, I actually really like the Aether Ironweave over that. There's also Shock Charmers, which I do have in my Lexi deck here. I think Shock Charmers is really good. In fact, it's really good to the point where I think you might want to include Shock Charmers, if you have it, over Vexing Quillhand against Kano, because it's just some free Spell Void. Honestly, I've been looking at some of the other Spell Void stuff as well. There's a Spell Void Boots that just has Spell Void 1. I'm considering running that too. I'm not entirely sure yet, but just Spell Void, the ability to prevent the arcane damage for free is so good in a deck like this, where we just want to be super aggro, go face, and not have to worry about spending resources to prevent arcane damage. So I'm very much considering more Spell Void options. And then there's also Bloodsheath Skeleton, which is not banned in this format, and it just has block 2, and you run that against Benji. So against Benji, you would just run the Skullcap, Grasp, and the Bloodsheath Skeleton, just because block 2, block 2, block 2 just makes it so you can block Benji really well. But the Aether Ironweave is not bad either. It still blocks for 1. So yeah, I think that's basically it for the equipment loadout. You have, like I said, you have some options here. Bloodsheath Skeleton and all of the Spell Void stuff are ones that you will want to look at. They're the ones that I'm currently playing around with. All right, so here we have the deck. Let's talk about the main chunk of attack actions in the deck. So the deck is basically 20 attack actions and 20 other. They're not all non-attacks. There's like, I think 18 non-attacks, and we have an instant. So let's talk about the attacks first. They're very, very simple. So we basically run 2 of everything except for these 2. And I consider these ones kind of flex slots. Like I said, this deck I got from the official Flesh and Blood website, and I'm not sure if I want to keep both of these in or if I want to cut one for the other to be more consistent. I really like Exude Confidence, especially with Channel Mount Heroic. So Exude Confidence says, while it isn't defended by a card with equal or greater attack, the defending hero can't play or activate instants or defense reactions this combat chain. And it just says activate instants or defense reactions, which includes hero abilities. So I actually think Channel Mount Heroic and Exude Confidence hose over Oldhim, who's just stacking up those defense reactions, because this is going to be coming in for a total of 7. We'll talk about Channel Mount Heroic when we get to the non-attacks. This is one of the cards that really makes the deck explosive. And they're going to have to block with a 7 attack, which could be possible. Could be possible. I mean, they are a Guardian, but we can also pump up Exuded Confidence with its own ability. So really, really like this versus Oldhim in particular. I think it's very, very strong. And that's for the whole combat chain, not just the chain link. So you can give this go again with your Snapdragon Scalers and then just keep pounding. So I'm really considering just running 2 Exude Confidences and cutting this Coax of Commotion. I do like Coax of Commotion. I think it's a fun card, but I think Exude Confidence is better in the current meta. So what does Coax do? It's a 0 for 4, and it says if it hits, you can choose any number. Each hero gets a Quicken token, each hero draws a card, and each hero gains 1 life. You can choose any number of those, which is great. You know, it's symmetrical, right? It's fair for everyone. But, you know, the idea is that this is going to probably have go again from either Snapdragon Scalers or an embodiment of Lightning, and then we can make use of that Quicken token, giving our next thing go again, and make use of that drawing a card, and just a good card to kind of go off. But I still really like the anti-Oldhim tech here, because Oldhim is a big pain in the butt. And it's very popular right now. So yeah, I think these, great against Oldhim. All right, let's start talking about the rest of the deck. It's pretty simple, actually. We have a lot of zeros for 4, which is why they call it Cheerios, because we have a lot of zeros here. So, Entwine Lightning, 0 for 4, Lightning Fusion. If you fused it, it gains Go Again. Pretty simple. 0 for 4 with Go Again, if you Lightning Fuse it. Here we have a Lightning card, Lightning Surge, 0 for 4. If you play it from Arsenal, it gains Go Again. Once again, just really good. Take note that all these cards block for 2. We can't block worth crap, so we're basically not going to be blocking. We just want to punch them really, really hard, and a lot. Next up, we have good old Pink Snatch. This is a 0 for 4. If it hits, draw a card. So giving this Go Again is really good. We're running 2 of those. Here we have another classic, Pink Scar for a Scar, 0 for 4. If you have less life than your opponent, it gains Go Again. You see the common denominator here, 0 for 4 with some ability to gain Go Again or to just replace itself. Ravenous Rabble. This is a 0 for 5, but you reveal the top card of your deck, and then against -X, where X is the pitch value of the card revealed this way, and it has Go Again. So once again, kind of a 0 for 4 with Go Again. A little flexible. We have a lot of reds in the deck though. Next up we have Overload, 0 for 3 with Dominate, and if it hits, gain Go Again. This card is gross, once again, with Channel Mount Heroic. Any of these cards are gross with Channel Mount Heroic, but a 0 for 6 with Dominate is pretty disgusting. So, yep, Overloads, running 2 of those. We also have Enlightened Strike, 0 for 5, but you have to tuck a card, so it's not really 0. It's basically like 1 card in your hand for 5, and then you get to choose an ability. You can either draw a card, E-Strike gains +2, or it gains Go Again. So, running these in the deck too, just 0 for some damage. Here we have another Runeblade special. This is a 0 for 3, but not really. So if you've played or created 1 or more auras this turn, it gains Go Again. If you've played or created 2 or more, it gains +1. And if you have played and or created 3 or more, it gains when it hits a hero. They can't prevent arcane damage from sources you control this turn. A lot of times it's just 0 for 4 with Go Again, which is good enough. We run 2 of these. And then finally, we break the mold with Burgeoning. Burgeoning is not with these other cards. These are all red cards that deal damage and punch our opponent hard. This is how we win. This and a combination of other non-attacks and Rosetta Thorn. These are going to be the ways we win. Like I said, I really like Exude Confidence over the Cokes. But Burgeoning is different. Burgeoning is a 2-cost, 4 attack, 2 block, earth attack action that is blue, pitches for 3. And if you play it from your arsenal, you gain +1. And you're like, why do you play this garbage? Well, because it is an earth card that's blue. That's really the main reason why we play Burgeoning. It is a earth card that pitches for 3, and that's actually really important when we get to Channel Mount Heroic. Also, it can attack. It's not like the worst thing ever, but it's also not the best thing ever. So we do like Burgeoning. If there was a 0 cost earth card that we could attack with, we'd probably run it over Burgeoning, but this is what we got. This is what we got. And why do we care about a blue earth card? Well, it's because of Channel Mount Heroic. This is what makes the deck really pop off. You saw some lightning cards in there, but we really care about these earth cards because Channel Mount Heroic is a freaking house. So this is a 3-cost earth action aura with Go Again, blocks for 3. Attack action cards you control have +3. So just +3 to all your things. Well, attack action cards. So this entire pile, +3 to everything, which is nuts. It's actually really nuts. But it has the channel ability, so channel earth. At the beginning of your end phase, put a flow counter on Channel Mount Heroic, then destroy unless you put an earth card from your pitch zone on the bottom of your deck for each flow counter on it. So we really want earth cards that pitch for 3 because Channel Mount Heroic costs 3 to play. So you just pitch a Burgeoning to play your Channel Mount Heroic, and then just play all your 0 attacks and try to punch your opponent as hard as you can. And because we pitched an earth card, the earth card will go under, and then we get to keep Channel Mount Heroic for a second turn. That's why you need the Burgeoning. Channel Mount Heroic is gross. This is what makes the deck so strong. Well, Channel Mount Heroic plus this card. We'll talk about this one next, actually. Force of Nature. So this is a Briar specialization. It is also, well, actually it's not. It is not. That's Earth Force Surge. I was going to say it's also an Earth card that pitches for 3. No. This is different. This actually cares about Earth cards. It has Earth Fusion. This is a 0-cost card, Briar specialization, Earth Fusion. All right, so This card is crazy. I use this in a Shiana deck, and in this deck, it's also crazy. So it just says, whenever an attack action card you control hits this turn, if its attack is greater than its base attack, channel mount heroic, draw a card. And then it also says, if you fuse, your next attack gains a +1, and then it has go again. So basically what you do is you can play your channel mount heroic, and then you play your force of nature, and then anytime anything that you have hits, you get a draw card, and then you just play that again, and, you know, pray it's one of these 0 costs with go again, and then just keep drawing cards and playing and drawing cards and playing, and just you can high roll and absolutely dumpster your opponent. So yeah, that's what this is. That's what this is. Fun times. You can really pop off and go to town. So here we have Earthlore Surge. Okay, so yeah, this one's kind of like Burgeoning, basically. It is a blue pitch card that's an Earth. But this one is an action, and it gives +3, so that's actually not bad. 2 for +3 isn't bad. So you can... I see me playing this more than playing Burgeoning, to be completely honest. But it's also just really good to pitch to channel Mount Heroic, so we're running 2 of them. Let's talk about some of the other non-attack actions. So we have Revel in Runeblood. So this is basically a 0, and this is kind of another 0 for 4. So it's a 0 cost. If you've played an attack action card and another non-attack action card this turn, create 4 Rune Chant tokens. At the beginning of your end phase, destroy all Rune Chants you control, go again. So basically, you want to, you know, do attack action, or non-attack attack with go again, Revel in Runeblood, and then swing on in with your Rosetta Thorn for 2 and 2 plus all of the Rune Chants, which is a total of 8 damage, which is pretty nice. Pretty nice. So yeah, the fact that it costs 0 is awesome. Like I said, it's basically just another 0 for 4, but it's a little bit conditional. Here we have Gorganian Tome. It's just a 0 cost card that lets you draw a card. It's just good for setting up turns that, you know, kind of like the Revel in Runeblood turn, right? It's just good for, it's a non-attack, so it counts as a non-attack. It immediately replaces itself. It has go again. It's just good for setting up turns. So yeah, that's why we run Gorganian Tome. It also doesn't pitch or block, so it's a little bit, you know, risky, but it's still good. It's still good. Next up, we have Plunder Run, not banned in Blitz. So this is a 0 cost card. The next time an attack action card you control hits this turn, draw a card. Yo, really good. And if you play this from your arsenal, the next attack action card you play gains +3. Really good. Drawing cards, getting the bonuses, really good. You almost always want to have a Plunder Run in your arsenal ready to pop off. So we're running the reds, and we're running the yellows, which is literally the same thing, except it's just a +2 instead of the +3. Next up, we have one of my favorites of all time. We have Nimblism, pink Nimblism here. So this is a 0. The next attack action card with cost 1 or less you play this turn gains +3. Just really good. Once again, it's also really good. Any of these cards that pump are really good with Exude Confidence, because it just makes it so your opponent can't do anything against all your stuff, which is good. And then we also have Lightning Press. Once again, 0 for a +3. Not quite the same as Nimblism, because it's an instant, and it's a lightning card, so you can use it to fuse. So, you know, downside is you can't block with it, but once again, we kind of don't want to block anyway. Also, it's an instant, not an attack, not a non-attack. So you keep that in mind for all of the Briar stuff. It's not an instant, that won't trigger her ability to generate the embodiment of lightnings. And then finally, we have Captain's Call and Pulse of Candlehold. So Captain's Call is a card that I like quite a bit, especially this blue one. So first of all, it pitches for blue, which is really good for those big turns. And then also it says, choose one, the next attack action card with cost 0 you play gains +2, or you can give it go again. So this is really good for giving your Snatch go again, for example. Or you can just give whatever +2. And you saw all the cards that cost 0. Literally all of them, except for the Oddball Burgeoning, which it's not really for attacking anyway. This is what we want to attack with. So, in fact, let's put the Burgeoning on the bottom. Just get out of here, Burgeoning. So yeah, Captain's Call, really good. Pitches for blue, like I said, and does great things. And then last but not least, we have the Pulse of Candlehold. So this is a 0 cost card. It is an Earth Lightning action, so you can use it to fuse Earth cards and Lightning cards. It is a legendary card, which means you can have one of them in your deck. And it has Go Again, which is great. So this is a great card to just play and then do an attack action with Go Again, and then follow it up with your Rosetta Thorn. or to play this into something else to generate that embodiment of lightning. What does it do? Put up to 2 target earth, lightning, and or elemental action cards from your graveyard to the top of your deck. Banish Pulse of Candlehold. So you can get back a lot of nice stuff. Like we can get back our Channel Mount Heroics, our Force of Natures. There's a big chunk at the beginning here. The Lightning Surges. Burgeoning, maybe you get back your Burgeoning and your Channel Mount Heroic, so you can play your Channel Mount Heroic. In any case, it's just a good card for getting stuff back, especially if you had to block with something, or you really need to get another Mount Heroic going. So that is the Briar Blitz deck tech. Like I said, this one came in 2nd place at a recent battle-hardened event in Dallas. And I think there's some tweaks here we can do to make it better in line with the current meta. Like I said, I think I like cutting something for a 2nd copy of Exude Confidence. I think Exude's really good against certain decks right now. But I like the deck. It's a lot of fun. If you just want to go face, it's not too hard to play. It's a little bit more challenging to play than would appear, but it's still not that hard. You just throw 0-cost cards and you punch your opponent as hard as you can. You don't block a whole lot, and when you do, you can really leverage our powerful equipment to block with. So let me know what you think of the deck in the comments down below. If you have any spicy tech, please let me know, and we'll see you next time for some more Flesh and Blood content. See you later, everyone.